quantum physics reveals that everything is made out of energy. What we perceive as matter is actually an illusion of energy and light, that there is nothing physical.
Energy is everything. Look around. What do you see? A world that seems solid, still, and tangible. But that's an illusion. Beneath the surface, every atom, every molecule, and every moment of existence is vibrating with energy. It moves unseen, connecting all things, living and non-living alike. It flows within you, around you, and beyond you. Are you ready to learn how to harness it? The power of energy. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a magnet in your hand. When you bring it near metal, there's an invisible pull, a force you can't see but can feel. This pull is energy in action. Now think bigger. What if your thoughts, your emotions, and even your intentions work the same way? What if the way you think and feel could attract or repel experiences, people, and outcomes in your life? This is not some distant mystical idea. It's a truth that ancient teachings, modern science, and personal experience all confirm. The idea that energy is the foundation of existence is not new. In the Taoist tradition, the concept of qi, or chi, describes a vital life force that flows through everything. In Indian philosophy, prana serves a similar purpose, symbolizing the breath of life and the energy that sustains it. Even physics agrees, matter is nothing more than energy slowed down into a form we can touch and perceive. These truths point to one inescapable conclusion. To control energy is to shape your reality. But how do we even begin to understand energy? Let's start with what it is not. Energy is not static. It doesn't stay in one place or take a single form. It is always shifting and always changing, and this movement is essential. Just as a river must flow to sustain life, energy must move to bring balance and growth. When energy stagnates, it leads to blockages, emotional, physical, or even spiritual. Think about a time when you felt stuck in life, unable to move forward. Maybe it was a toxic relationship, a dead-end job, or a deep sense of dissatisfaction with yourself. That feeling of being trapped was not just mental, it was energetic. When energy cannot flow freely, it creates tension and imbalance. And this imbalance doesn't just affect your mood, it affects your health, your relationships, and your ability to create the life you want. The good news is this: energy is not out of your control. You are not at the mercy of invisible forces. In fact, you are already working with energy every single day, whether you realize it or not. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take, they all send ripples of energy out into the universe. The question is, are you doing this consciously or unconsciously? In the Gospel of Thomas, a text attributed to early Christian teachings, there is a saying, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." This speaks to the power of energy within us. When we harness and direct it, we align with the flow of life. But when we ignore it, suppress it, or misuse it, it becomes chaotic and destructive. Understanding energy begins with awareness. Notice how your body feels when you walk into a room where people have been arguing. There's a heaviness in the air, isn't there? Now contrast that with the lightness you feel when surrounded by people laughing or celebrating. This isn't your imagination, it's energy in action. We constantly exchange energy with our environment, whether we're aware of it or not. This is why intention is so crucial. When you set an intention, you're giving energy a purpose, a direction. It's like aiming an arrow instead of letting it fly aimlessly. Ancient rituals, whether religious or spiritual, understood this well. Lighting a candle, saying a prayer, or meditating are not just symbolic acts. They are ways of focusing energy toward a specific outcome. But you don't need rituals to work with energy. All you need is the willingness to pay attention. Consider this: every time you think a thought, you are creating a vibration. Positive thoughts like gratitude or love create higher vibrations. Negative thoughts like fear or resentment create lower ones. These vibrations affect not only you but also the people and spaces around you. Science even shows that emotions like gratitude can positively impact your physical health, boosting your immune system and lowering stress. Energy is also cyclical. It mirrors the natural rhythms of life, the rising and setting of the sun, the phases of the moon, and the changing of the seasons. When we align ourselves with these rhythms, we tap into a greater flow of energy. Farmers planting seeds in spring and harvesting in autumn have always understood this. Similarly, aligning your personal energy with natural cycles can lead to profound changes in your life. So where do we begin? Start by observing. Watch your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Pay attention to how you react to people and situations. Notice when you feel drained and when you feel energized. This awareness is the first step to reclaiming your power. Once you see how energy moves in and out of your life, you can begin to guide it with purpose. Energy is like a dance partner. It responds to your movements. If you push too hard, it resists. If you move with grace and intention, it flows. The key is not to force, but to align. Alignment comes from trust, from surrendering to the idea that energy knows where it needs to go. When you trust this process, life becomes less of a struggle and more of a collaboration. You are not separate from this great flow of life. You are a part of it, a living expression of energy in motion. What you do with that energy is up to you. Energy flows when unblocked. Energy flows freely when unblocked, but more often than not it meets resistance. This resistance doesn't come from the world outside of us, but from within. Our thoughts, beliefs, and habits shape the channels through which energy moves. When these are rooted in fear, doubt, or past pain, they create patterns that keep us stuck, replaying the same situations over and over like a broken record. The good news is that these patterns can be transformed. Imagine a river flowing down a mountainside. It carves its path over time, creating grooves in the earth. If rocks or debris block its path, the water pools and stagnates, losing its vitality. Our energy is no different. Over time, our thoughts and beliefs create grooves in our minds, patterns we follow without even realizing it. These grooves are not always helpful. They might be rooted in old wounds, societal expectations, or the fear of stepping into the unknown. Breaking free starts with one simple but profound step: awareness. You cannot change what you do not see. Begin by noticing the thoughts and beliefs that dominate your mind. Do they uplift you or drag you down? Is it truly mine, or did I inherit it from someone else? Many of our patterns are not even ours. They're passed down from family, culture, or society. For example, if you grew up hearing that success requires constant struggle, you might unconsciously block opportunities that come easily, believing they're too good to be true. Are they rooted in love and possibility, or are they based on fear and limitation? This is not about judgment. It's about observation, like shining a flashlight into a dark room to see what's really there. Take a moment to think about your inner dialogue. What do you tell yourself when things don't go as planned? Do you blame yourself? Do you assume the worst? These habitual responses are patterns, and they're often so ingrained that we mistake them for truth. But they're not truth. They're simply stories we've repeated so often that they've become our reality. The samskaras of the mind. In Hindu philosophy, there's a concept called samskaras. These are mental and emotional impressions left by past experiences. Over time, they form grooves in the mind, shaping our reactions and behaviors. If left unchecked, they create cycles of repetition, binding us to the same struggles and challenges. But samskaras are not permanent. They can be rewritten. The key lies in recognizing them and choosing a different path. Once you've identified a limiting belief, you can begin to shift it. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to think positive thoughts all the time. It means opening yourself to new possibilities. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," try saying, "I'm learning and growing every day." Instead of thinking, "Things never work out for me," try, "I'm open to things working out in unexpected ways." These shifts may feel small, but they have a profound impact. Energy follows intention. When you set the intention to release an old pattern, you create space for new energy to flow. Rituals can help with this process, not because they hold magic on their own, but because they focus your energy and intention. Writing down a belief you're ready to release and burning the paper, for example, is a powerful way to signal to your subconscious that you're ready to let go. Meditation is another tool for breaking free from patterns. When you sit in stillness and observe your thoughts without attachment, you begin to see the patterns more clearly. You realize that you are not your thoughts, you are the observer of your thoughts. This shift in perspective creates space between you and the patterns, allowing you to choose a different response. The story of the elephant and the rope offers a powerful metaphor. In India, baby elephants are tied to a small stake in the ground with a rope. When they're young, they're not strong enough to break free, so they stop trying. As they grow older and stronger, they could easily pull the stake from the ground, but they don't even try. They've been conditioned to believe they're powerless even when they're not. We are often like those elephants. We carry beliefs and patterns from our past, assuming they still define us, even though we've grown and changed. But the truth is, the rope isn't real. It's an illusion. The only thing holding us back is the belief that we can't break free. Another key to releasing blocked energy is forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. Holding on to resentment or guilt is like carrying a heavy weight. It drains your energy and keeps you tethered to the past. Forgiveness is not about excusing harmful behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the energetic chains that bind you. Visualize forgiveness as releasing a balloon into the sky. You're not condoning what happened. You're simply letting it go, freeing yourself from the burden. As you release that weight, you create space for new, lighter energy to enter your life. Lastly, remember that breaking free from patterns is not a one-time event. It's a journey, a process of continual growth and evolution. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your progress no matter how small it seems. Each step you take is a victory. Energy, like life itself, is meant to flow. When you free yourself from the patterns and beliefs that block it, you open the door to endless possibilities. You step into the fullness of who you are, a being of infinite potential, capable of creating a reality that aligns with your highest self. But samskaras are not inherently good or bad. They simply are. They represent the residue of our past experiences, the echoes of our choices. What matters is how we engage with them. When we act unconsciously, driven by these imprints, we reinforce old patterns, creating energetic blocks. But when we bring awareness to them, samskaras become opportunities for growth and transformation. The key to understanding samskaras in the context of energy is recognizing that they act as filters. They shape how we perceive the world and ourselves, influencing the way energy flows through us. Imagine wearing glasses with a particular tint. The world you see is not inherently that color, but the lenses filter your perception, altering your experience. Similarly, samskaras filter the energy we receive and project, coloring our thoughts, emotions, and actions. For instance, someone with a samskara of self-doubt may struggle to accept opportunities, even when they're perfectly capable of succeeding. The energy of potential flows toward them, but the filter of doubt blocks it, preventing it from manifesting fully. On the other hand, someone with a samskara of confidence might naturally attract supportive energy, reinforcing their belief in their abilities. One of the most profound teachings about samskaras is their impermanence. While they may feel deeply ingrained, they are not fixed. Like grooves in the sand, they can be reshaped or smoothed out over time. This is where the work of awareness comes in. By recognizing our samskaras, we take the first step toward releasing their hold on us. In yoga and meditation practices, this process is often referred to as samskara shodhana, or the purification of samskaras. Through mindfulness, self-reflection, and intentional action, we can begin to dissolve the patterns that no longer serve us. This doesn't mean erasing the past, but transforming our relationship with it. Consider the story of the sculptor and the block of marble. When asked how he creates such beautiful statues, the sculptor replies, "I see the statue within the marble, and I simply chip away everything that is not it." In the same way, our true selves are already within us, but samskaras can obscure our essence. By working to dissolve these imprints, we reveal the radiant being beneath. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches Arjuna about the importance of self-awareness and disciplined action in overcoming the limitations of the mind. Krishna emphasizes that liberation comes not from avoiding action, but from acting with mindfulness and detachment. This teaching directly relates to samskaras. When we act out of unconscious patterns, we create more impressions, deepening the grooves. But when we act with awareness, we begin to break free from these cycles, allowing energy to flow more freely. Samskaras also have a powerful connection to the energy centers of the body, known as chakras. Each samskara resonates with a particular energetic frequency, often aligning with specific chakras. For example, a samskara rooted in fear might block the root chakra, preventing us from feeling grounded and secure. By addressing these imprints, we not only free our minds, but also restore balance to our energetic system. Breaking free from samskaras is not about force or resistance. It's about bringing light to the shadows, seeing the patterns for what they are, and choosing a different way of being. This process requires patience and compassion, both for ourselves and for the journey we've been on. Every samskara, no matter how limiting, holds a lesson. It is through facing these lessons that we grow. In the context of energy work, samskaras reminds us that true transformation begins within. External practices and rituals can support our journey, but they are only effective when paired with inner work. By addressing the patterns that block our energy, we open the door to a more authentic, aligned way of living. As we move forward in this exploration of energy, remember that the power to shift your samskaras lies within you. The grooves of the past do not define you, they are simply the starting point. With awareness, intention, and love, you can create new pathways, inviting energy to flow freely and fully in every aspect of your life. The flow of energy in our lives is a concept explored in countless philosophies and traditions, each offering its own unique lens. While many are familiar with systems like the chakras or the Taoist view of qi, there are lesser-known beliefs that offer equally profound insights into the way energy shapes our reality. One such belief comes from the ancient Hermetic tradition, the principle of correspondence. The Hermetic teachings, attributed to the mysterious figure Hermes Trismegistus, are thought to hold the keys to understanding the universe and our place within it. The principle of correspondence is one of the foundational ideas in this tradition, captured in the phrase, "as above, so below, as within, so without." At first glance, these words might sound poetic, but they hold a deep truth about energy and how it moves through the layers of existence. This principle suggests that the patterns we see in the cosmos mirror the patterns within ourselves. The universe, in all its vastness, is reflected in the microcosm of our lives. And just as the stars follow their paths in the heavens, the energy within us follows pathways shaped by our beliefs, actions, and intentions. What makes this belief so fascinating is its invitation to look at life as a web of interconnected energy. Imagine a spider's web, each strand vibrating when touched. In the same way, every thought, feeling, or action you put out into the world creates ripples that influence everything else. This interconnectedness means that the changes we seek externally must first be made internally. If you want peace in your outer world, it must first be cultivated in your inner world. This idea aligns beautifully with the topic of samskaras and energy flow. If your internal world is clouded by unresolved patterns or limiting beliefs, that energy reflects outward, creating barriers in your relationships, work, and personal growth. On the other hand, when you work to dissolve these patterns and align your inner energy, the outer world begins to shift in response. Hermetic teachings also emphasize the concept of polarity. Everything, according to this belief, exists on a spectrum with energy flowing between opposites. Light and dark, heat and cold, love and fear, all are different expressions of the same energy. This idea is not just theoretical, it has practical implications for how we engage with the world. For example, when you're feeling stuck in a negative state like anger or sadness, Hermetic wisdom suggests you don't need to banish these emotions. Instead, you can shift their energy along the spectrum toward their opposite. Anger, once acknowledged and transformed, can become a passion, while sadness can evolve into compassion. This ability to transmute energy takes practice, but it's a powerful and empowering skill. The principle of correspondence also invites us to consider the energy of our environment. Just as our inner state reflects outward, the spaces we inhabit and the people we surround ourselves with influence our internal energy. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an immediate sense of calm or perhaps an unexplained tension? This is the energy of the environment speaking to you, shaped by the intentions and emotions of those who occupy it. In some cultures, this idea is expressed through practices like feng shui, which focuses on arranging spaces to promote the flow of positive energy. In the Hermetic tradition, it's understood as creating harmony between the inner and outer worlds. By aligning your physical environment with your inner intentions, you create a feedback loop that supports your growth and well-being. Another obscure belief tied to energy is found in the ancient Polynesian practice of mana. In Hawaiian culture, mana refers to a spiritual energy or life force that exists in all things. It is not something you are born with or inherit. It is something you cultivate through your actions, intentions, and connections. Mana grows when you live in alignment with your values and diminishes when you act out of anger, selfishness, or fear. This belief beautifully ties into the idea that energy is not fixed. It is dynamic and ever-changing. When you honor your commitments, show kindness to others, or pursue your passions with authenticity, you enhance your mana, creating a powerful flow of energy that supports you in all areas of life. Conversely, when you act against your values or allow negative patterns to dominate, you deplete your energy, creating blockages that make it harder to move forward. What both the Hermetic principle of correspondence and the Polynesian concept of mana teach us is that energy is both deeply personal and universally connected. The changes we seek are not out there somewhere, they begin with us. They remind us that the energy we cultivate within ourselves doesn't just affect our individual lives, it ripples outward, shaping the world we live in. As we delve deeper into understanding and working with energy, these obscure beliefs offer valuable tools and perspectives. They show us that energy is not something to control or conquer, it is something to understand, align with, and guide. Now, picture yourself walking into a room and feeling heavy, unexplainable tension. External energy blockages. Breaking free from what surrounds you. Or speaking with someone who, even without saying much, leaves you drained. We've all been there, moments where the energy around us feels off, tangled, or outright oppressive. External circumstances can create energy blockages just as powerfully as our inner struggles. Recognizing and addressing these blockages is key to reclaiming the flow of life force within us. One thing to know about energy is that it isn't just about what happens inside. It's a dynamic relationship with the world around us. Every interaction, every place, and every situation carries energy. Some of it nourishes us, like the uplifting buzz of laughter with a loved one or the serenity of nature. Other times, it can feel like we're walking through quicksand, weighed down by stress, toxic environments, or even the collective mood of society. Take a moment to consider how often you might absorb the energy of others without realizing it. In some traditions, this is called energetic imprinting, the idea that we pick up on the vibrations of the people and spaces we encounter. The yogic philosophy describes this through the concept of samskara, the mental and emotional imprints left by past experiences. But samskara isn't just internal, it's influenced by external triggers. A negative workplace, a combative family dynamic, or even societal expectations can deepen those grooves, reinforcing patterns that keep us stuck. So, how do we break free from external blockages? The first step is awareness. You can't address energy you haven't noticed. This might sound simple, but in a world filled with constant noise, both literal and metaphorical, it's easy to ignore the subtle ways external energy affects us. Picture yourself walking through a crowded marketplace. The noise of chatter, the press of bodies, the whirlwind of smells and colors. It's overwhelming. Now imagine stepping into a quiet forest. The air feels lighter, the rustling leaves seem to breathe with you, and suddenly your thoughts settle. The marketplace and the forest each carry energy, but the way they interact with your own energy is completely different. The key is recognizing how different spaces make you feel and learning to navigate accordingly. One of the most powerful tools for addressing external blockages is creating an energetic boundary. In spiritual traditions, this is sometimes visualized as an aura, a field of energy that surrounds us and can be strengthened to repel negativity. You don't need to see your aura to feel its effects. Think of it like locking your front door, not out of fear, but to protect what's sacred within your space. Start with simple practices to strengthen your energetic boundaries. Breathwork is incredibly effective. Something as straightforward as pausing to take 3 deep, intentional breaths can reset your internal state and act as a shield against intrusive energy. Imagine each inhale drawing in pure, revitalizing energy, and each exhale releasing anything that doesn't belong to you. Another powerful method comes from ancient cleansing rituals. Smudging with sage or burning Palo Santo, for instance, is rooted in indigenous practices that recognize the power of smoke to clear heavy energies. But even if you don't have these tools on hand, you can use intention to cleanse your space. Visualize a light, golden, white, or whatever feels right to you, washing over your surroundings and sweeping away anything stagnant or negative. Sometimes, though, the energy blocking you isn't tied to a place or person, but to a situation. Maybe it's a job that feels soul-crushing, a relationship that drains you, or even a decision that looms over you like a storm cloud. In these moments, the external blockage becomes deeply personal. Here's where we turn to a story from Zen Buddhism to guide us. A student once approached their teacher carrying a bundle of rocks. "These are the burdens I cannot set down," they said, struggling under the weight. The teacher simply nodded and handed the student a cup of tea. "Drink this first," they said. The student protested. "I can't, I'm holding the rocks." The teacher smiled. "Exactly, you must let go before you can receive." External blockages often feel like those rocks, impossible to put down. But the truth is, we have more choices than we think. Even if we can't leave a situation immediately, we can change how we relate to it. Start by asking yourself, am I holding on to this out of habit, fear, or obligation? What would happen if I let go, even just a little? Letting go doesn't mean avoiding responsibility. It means releasing the energy of attachment that keeps you stuck. If a co-worker's negativity drains you, can you choose not to engage with their complaints? If a social media feed fills you with comparison, can you step away for a while? These small acts of release create space for energy to flow again. Nature also offers profound wisdom on how to address external blockages. Consider the river. When it encounters a boulder, it doesn't stop flowing. It moves around, over, or even through the obstacle over time. The river teaches us adaptability. When external circumstances block your energy, ask yourself, how can I flow like water? This idea ties back to the ancient Chinese philosophy of Taoism, which emphasizes living in harmony with the Tao, the natural flow of the universe. The Tao teaches that resistance creates suffering, while alignment creates peace. If an external blockage feels insurmountable, perhaps the answer isn't to push harder, but to find a different way forward. Breaking free from external blockages is not about controlling the world around us. It's about mastering our response to it. By becoming aware of the energy we absorb, creating boundaries, and letting go of what no longer serves us, we reclaim our power. As you navigate the external energies that come your way, remember that you are not a passive recipient. You are an active participant in the dance of energy. Every choice you make to pause, to breathe, to flow, to release, shapes your reality. The next step is learning to amplify this energy, turning it into a force that propels you toward your highest potential. Amplifying your energy is like discovering the wind hidden within your sails. At first it's subtle, a soft breeze that whispers of potential, but when you learn to harness it, to amplify it, that breeze becomes a storm of possibility, propelling you toward horizons you once thought unreachable. Throughout history, sages and mystics have spoken of this transformation. They likened it to a fire. A small flame can light a room, but when tended with care, it becomes a roaring blaze, illuminating paths you never knew existed. The secret lies in knowing how to feed the flame without letting it burn out or lose control. It starts with clarity. Think of the archer in ancient parables who doesn't release their arrow until their aim is true. Energy works the same way. When scattered, it fades into the background, weak and ineffective. But when focused, it becomes unstoppable, like the river carving its way through stone. This focus is your compass, the force that ensures every ounce of energy moves toward the life you're meant to live. But focus isn't enough without emotion. The sages often said, "What stirs the heart moves the world." Passion and belief aren't just feelings, they're power. They're the kindling that turns a spark into a firestorm. Think of how a farmer plants seeds, not just with their hands, but with hope, faith, and love. That invisible energy nourishes what grows, just as your emotions nourish your goals. Becoming the keeper of your energy. Now, building up on the farmer's example, picture it now as a vast garden, wild and untamed. If left to grow on its own, weeds choke the flowers and the soil loses its richness. Now imagine that same garden tended by loving hands, where each plant is nurtured and every weed is carefully removed. That garden becomes a sanctuary full of life and beauty. Your energy works the same way. It will flow no matter what, but how it flows and what it creates depends on how actively you care for it. To control your energy, you must become more than a passive observer. You must step into the role of the keeper, the active participant shaping your inner and outer worlds. Energy isn't something that happens to you. It's something you interact with, shape and direct. This means understanding its movements, honoring its rhythms, and guiding it with purpose. It begins with recognizing that energy follows attention. Where you focus your mind, your energy flows. Ancient spiritual practices like meditation, prayer, and ritual have long understood this truth. In Hindu philosophy, this concept is tied to dhyana, or meditation, a focused, unbroken flow of awareness. The sages taught that when your attention is scattered, so too is your energy. But when you learn to focus, even for a few moments, your energy begins to align, becoming a powerful force that supports your intentions. Think about how often your energy is spent without intention, a conversation where you overthink every word, a worry that takes up your entire evening, a grudge you can't let go of. These moments might seem small, but they drain your energy drop by drop. Over time, they leave you feeling depleted and disconnected. To take control, you must become intentional about what you give your energy to, and just as importantly, what you don't. Here's a truth that's both freeing and challenging. Not everything deserves your energy. You have the right to say no to situations, people, and even thoughts that don't serve you. This isn't about building walls or shutting yourself off. It's about choosing where your energy thrives. In Taoism, there's a principle called Wu Wei, or effortless action. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means aligning your actions with the natural flow and conserving energy by not forcing what isn't meant to be. In practical terms, this might look like stepping away from an argument you don't need to win, or letting go of a commitment that drains you instead of fulfilling you. It might mean spending less time scrolling through social media and more time grounding yourself in the real world. Each of these choices sends a message to your energy. I am here, present, and intentional. One of the most powerful ways to take control of your energy is by working with your breath. Breath is life's simplest rhythm, yet it carries profound power. In practices like pranayama, the yogic control of breath, you learn that how you breathe directly affects your energy. Shallow, rushed breaths scatter your focus, while deep, intentional breathing calms and centers you. Try this now. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in, feeling your chest and belly expand fully. Hold it for a moment, then slowly release it. Notice how the act of breathing brings you back to yourself, quieting the noise of the world. This is the essence of energy control, not a grand gesture, but a simple act of awareness repeated with love. To truly master your energy, you must also connect with something greater than yourself. Energy isn't isolated, it's part of the infinite flow of the universe. When you tap into this flow, your energy aligns with something much larger, more powerful, and more enduring. In many spiritual traditions, this connection is described as divine or cosmic energy. You might feel it in prayer, meditation, or even in a moment of stillness under the stars. One story that illustrates this connection comes from the Zen tradition. A student once asked their teacher, "How do I find peace in the chaos of the world?" The teacher pointed to a stream and said, "Look at the water. It flows around every obstacle, yet it never loses its way. Be like the water, and you will find peace." The water doesn't fight the rocks or resist the current. It moves with grace, surrendering to the flow but never losing its essence. To take control of your energy, you must learn this balance, standing firm in your truth while remaining open to the rhythms of life. Being an active participant in your energy means taking responsibility. It's about asking yourself, what am I creating with the energy I have today? Your thoughts, words, and actions are like seeds planted in the soil of your life. What you focus on grows. If you feed doubt, fear, or negativity, those are the crops you'll harvest. But if you nurture love, courage, and faith, your life will bloom in ways you can't yet imagine. You just have to keep working on it every day. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about never feeling drained or making mistakes. Even the most enlightened beings experience moments of imbalance. What truly matters is how quickly you recognize those moments and gently steer yourself back into alignment. Each day you have the chance to choose. Will you allow the chaos of the world to shape your energy, or will you take control and shape it yourself? Will you focus on what drains you, or will you invest in what lifts you up? These are the core questions of energy mastery. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.